Good evening and thanks for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. Let's go straight to the day's market action. A volatile day of trade which saw the benchmark indices ending absolutely flat. The Nifty ended the day with a slight negative bias, but it did manage to hold on to the 10,500 mark. The Sensex, though, closed without any change. The banking sector was the outperformer. The Nifty Bank Index closed higher by about 0.5%. But let's talk about the currency market, where the rupee strengthened on Tuesday's crude oil price crash. The Indian unit ending at 72.31 per dollar against Tuesday's close of 72.67. So that's the dollar rupee for you. And on to the crude markets, where crude oil has recouped some of the previous session's slide. This after reports suggested that OPEC and its partners are considering a higher than expected production cut of 1.4 million barrels per day. Now, the decision on crude production cuts is expected at the next meeting of the OPEC, which is on the 6th of December. So trading higher, both Brent and NYMEX for now. But on to the top story of this evening. The Supreme Court has reserved its order in the crucial Rafale matter. The Apex Court heard a string of petitions that challenged the intergovernmental agreement between France and India to buy 36 Rafale jets. Sparks flew in the Supreme Court, and one of the petitioners, Prashant Bhushan, clashed with Attorney General K.K. Venugopal over pricing and the secrecy clause. The government has admitted before the Supreme Court that there is no sovereign guarantee from the French government on the deal, and that all that they have is a letter of comfort. The Apex Court even summoned Air Force officers to hear directly from them on the fighter jet deal instead of officials from the Ministry of Defence. Ashmit Kumar, who's been tracking the developments, joins us now. Ashmit, an important day in court. The arguments have now concluded. The order is reserved, and several new revelations, in a sense, also emerge.
Well, a day of high drama, high tension at the Apex Court. The Rafale case was heard today by a bench headed by the Chief Justice, Justice Gogoi himself. Again, some tough questions being asked by the petitioners, the government being able to answer some, struggling with a few others. But the big takeaway essentially is that some critical issues have emerged which could potentially put the government in a spot of bother. But let's first take a look at what exactly transpired. Well, first up, the Apex Court, of course, has concluded the hearing, heard both the sides, and has, as of today, reserved the judgment. So clearly the ball now rests in the court of the Apex Court. They will now have to clarify. Let's take a look at the questions that were raised. Now, first up, the PRs. The question that was essentially raised is that there were procedural violations. That's not all. It also raises questions of commissions, of kickbacks, and that's where it gets interesting, and that's what we'll come to in just a bit. But first, a look at the petitioners, the trio themselves, Yashwant Sinha, Arun Shourie, Prashant Bhushan. They were all, in fact, minus Yashwant Sinha, Arun Shourie and Prashant Bhushan were in court. They were arguing, they presented their case, and they raised some very, very interesting points. We'll take a look at them one by one. First up, as far as the petitioners are concerned, the question that they raised was the choice of Reliance Aerospace in the first place. They say that this itself, this selection of Reliance Aerospace is in itself in the nature of a commission, of a kickback, and that is something that in fact is a red flag as far as petitioners are concerned. It goes on to, they go on to argue that as far as Reliance Aerospace is concerned, has zero experience in manufacturing sophisticated fighter aircrafts, and hence that makes this choice even more suspicious. They go a step further in saying that Dassault is financially in a weak position and hence is vulnerable, has mortgaged itself to the government of India. So that's the language used in the petition. And finally, saying that the government claims that as far as the first round of selection was concerned for 126 MMRC aircraft, it didn't work out because of HAL. That is the reason that has been cited by the government. However, the petitioner cited that Dassault chief himself, in fact, in the year 2015 had stated that he had excellent working relations with the HAL. Another issue that arose was the issue of the missing sovereign guarantee. Now, this, interestingly, was an issue that was red flagged not by the petitioners, but in fact first red flagged by the Law Ministry itself. And this was again cited by as a part of the hearings. Now, keep in mind that when you have government-to-government agreements, it's par for course for the recipient government, in this case the French government, to come out with what is called a sovereign guarantee, which is essentially a guarantee for performance of the agreement in question. Now, the French government has refused to provide any such guarantee, essentially arguing that Dassault is the equipment supplier. They will be the one that will come through on the agreement, and that we have no role to play, which in a way defeats the very purpose of the government-to-government agreement. And essentially what the government has done, the Indian government has done, is that they've conceded before the Apex Court that yes, we do not have a sovereign guarantee, as is the course, as is the norm as far as G2G contracts are concerned, but what we have is a letter of comfort. Now, that is something that did inspire a great deal of comfort. It doesn't quite stack up as compared to a sovereign guarantee, so that is another sticky issue. Another question that had been raised is that, and this was raised by the Apex Court, that why has DASON not submitted the offset partner details as per the DPP of 2013? The answer to that was that the DPP has been amended. The caveat is that it has been amended retrospectively. So another sticky issue that the government will have to work with going forward. Now, of course, when we come to the question of what is the road ahead, what does it look like? Now, let's keep in mind that the serious question that has been raised in the PILs on the back of that, what the petition actually prays for and says as a part of its prayers is that there has been an abuse of authority by none other than the Prime Minister himself, leading to corruption amounting to thousands of crore rupees. And the prayer that they've essentially made is for a CBI-led investigation into this entire matter. And they've also said that the Apex Court should monitor this investigation going forward, given the high stakes involved and given that there are very, very powerful people involved. So clearly, the ball is squarely in the court of the Apex Court. They will now have to take a call on whether or not a CBI probe is perhaps the best way forward. Back to you.
Yesterday's statement by the Sol CEO has made it two things absolutely clear. That Rahul Gandhi and Congress was resorting to lies, they were concocting stories. And all these concocted stories was only with one intention, to mislead the people of India. हिंदुस्तान में हवाई जहाज नहीं बनेगा, फ्रांस में हवाई जहाज बनेगा और अनिल अंबानी को आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दो। जो आरोप लगाने वाले हैं वो अनपढ़ हैं, उनको पता नहीं है कि क्या चीज़ है, इसलिए इसके बारे में ज़्यादा टिप्पणी करना ठीक है। We'll have to wait until Supreme Court comes to a firm conclusion in this important matter relating to people's money.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, करप्शन का मतलब तो आप भी जानते हैं। अगर आपने कसम खा ली है कि सच देश के सामने नहीं खाएगा, तो हमने भी कसम खाई है कि सच देश के सामने आएगा।
केंद्र सरकार जो राफेल का दाम बताने से बच रही है, जो पूरी प्रक्रिया में गड़बड़ियों को बताने से बच रही है और छिपाने की कोशिश कर रही है, माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के सामने इनका सच सामने आएगा।
The big corporate story tonight, Zee Entertainment, that stock saw some wild swings in trade today. And this after Zee's promoters, Subhash Chandra and family, announced that they intend to sell up to 50% of their stake in the company. Speaking to CNBC TV 18, Zee Entertainment's managing director and CEO Puneet Goenka said that the promoters will not even shy away from selling beyond 50% if someone writes them a check that they cannot refuse. Look at the stock today, finally closing about 0.5% or so lower, but as the intraday chart tells you, a fair degree of volatility. Here's Puneet Goenka in an exclusive chat with CNBC TV 18.
The possibility of an only Indian partner is also there, or is it more a possibility of one Indian and one foreign partner?
Well, if it's a strategic partnership, I don't expect it to be a multiple partner deal. It will be one strategic partner that we are looking for, and whoever adds the maximum value to our business will be considered to be our partner.
Mr. Goenka, you said that you have received offers from a lot of players. Have you zeroed in on anyone, or in the process of that, if you could throw color on, the kind of players they are? Are they technology companies? Are they media companies? What kind of companies are there?
Well, I did not say we received any offers. What we have received is a lot of interest over the last few months from several players in the global arena. These are spanning technology. These are spanning content companies that are spread across geographies. So it's a mixed bag of all possibilities.
Let me not pussyfoot. Are you speaking to RelGeo?
I am not at liberty to divulge any names right now. I'm bound by strict confidentiality until I can say that. So I can't share with you any names. Sorry about that.
In the conference call, you said that if someone writes a really big check, you will give away more than 50%. So it's legitimate. You could perhaps not have a role at all and will only be a minority shareholder, isn't it?
Well, yeah, if somebody writes a check to me which I can't refuse, why not? It's still worth the effort that I've put in so far. I will find something else to do with my time.
I'll Ultratech has notched a legal victory in the race for Binani Cement. The Company Law Appellate Tribunal, which is the NCLAT, has ruled that its bid of 7,900 crore rupees is valid. The NCLAT went on to rule that the offer from another suitor, which in this case is Dalmia Bharat, was discriminatory against a few creditors. The Dalmia Group has decided to challenge the order in the Supreme Court, as was expected. But it's been a day since Flipkart co-founder Binny Bansal stepped down as the group CEO following an independent probe into allegations of serious personal misconduct. cnbc TV 18 learns that the charges of alleged sexual assault levelled against him date back a few years. We also learn that it was only in July this year that the complaint was filed with Walmart. Saina Denugura joins us now with more. Saina, it's been 24 hours since that development. What more now in terms of the leadership rejig and how that's going down?
A day after Binny Bansal stepped down as CEO of the Flipkart Group on allegations of personal misconduct, we learned from our sources that the issue of alleged sexual assault is a dated one, as far back as 2016, but a formal complaint for this was filed with the global Walmart team only in July 2018. And while the law firms investigating the complaint haven't found any evidence to corroborate the claims, Walmart had an issue with how Binny Bansal handled the matter in the past. Top company sources now tell us that they were unaware of any investigation ongoing against Bansal till a few days ago. And even then, they didn't think it was of a serious nature at all. Walmart says it didn't ask Binny to resign and that the decision to do so was his own. Bansal's resignation has caused nervousness in the rank and files of the company, with a feeling that the Bansal era history is being wiped out. Binny Bansal still holds 5 to 6% in the company he co-founded in 2007, and as per his statement, he will continue to sit on the board of Flipkart. Now, there is also some concern regarding the leadership rejig and the new reporting structure, under which Anant Narayan, the CEO of Myntra Jabong, who previously reported into Binny, will now report to Kalyan Krishnamurthy. And while sources say that Kalyan has made it clear that any change should not be seen as an integration of Myntra into Flipkart fashion, and that it will be business as usual at Myntra, a source within Flipkart tells us that Narayan, the Myntra Jabong CEO, may have his own views on the new reporting structure. Queries to Myntra's Anant Narayanan have, of course, gone unanswered.
The big interview of the day, 2 months after the Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of Aadhaar but curtailed its use, UIDAI CEO Ajay Bhushan Pandey has cleared the air on the impact of the verdict. Let me break this down for you. Here are the key highlights. Now, fintech companies and third parties can use offline Aadhaar authentication to verify users. The UIDAI CEO says that the Attorney General has opined that such a move is not in contravention of the Supreme Court order. He's also promised that authentication logs will be deleted in the next few weeks, as was mandated by the court. And he also went on to say that telecom companies have sought 2 to 3 months to finalize an exit plan on the Aadhaar verification, because remember, telecom companies were using Aadhaar for verification and KYC. Here's the cnbc TV 18 exclusive interview this evening. Who are the people who should not be using Aadhaar?
Like, for example, Supreme Court has said about the telecom companies.
Yes.
Telecom companies. Then, so we have told the telecom companies that, here is the Supreme Court order. Now, the Supreme Court order is public. So, everybody is supposed to follow the Supreme Court order, right? So, in that particular case, we have told the telecom companies. Similarly, there are some other private companies. So, we have told everyone, see, here is the Supreme Court order. Please follow the Supreme Court order and you give us an exit plan. Now, that exit plan, the provision is provided in the Aadhaar regulation itself.
Okay.
Why there is a need for the exit plan? Because once, you are rolling out certain services, based, for example, in case of a telecom company were giving SIM card on the basis of the fingerprint, Aadhaar authentication. Now, they will have to, make an exit from this whole system.
Yes.
And for that purpose, there has to be an exit plan. Now, exit plan is provided in the Aadhaar regulations. So, Aadhaar regulations...
So have they come back with an exit plan?
Right.
By when will the exit plan be put in place?
So what they have told us, they are already in the process of making that exit plan, and they want some time. So we are saying...
How much time?
No, right. So they have, some companies have asked for 2 months' time, 3 months' time. So this is the kind of time we have taken. So we have taken the matter with the Department of Telecom. Department of Telecom also, just last fortnight has told them that, the Supreme Court order has to be followed. And the Department of Telecom has given them an alternate digital plan.
Okay.
Because see, the whole idea is that the people should not suffer. Because earlier, if they were doing with Aadhaar, there should be equally efficacious digital process through which the people should be able to get SIM card, because this should not lead to going back to the paper age or stone age.
No,
right, exactly.
Fair point. But I'm saying that if you are given to understand by telecom companies that they require 2 to 3 months' time to be able to put this exit plan in place, who is going to monitor this? Will you monitor this? Will the Department of Telecom monitor this? What is the timeline that we're working with to ensure that the order is actually complied with?
Right. So here there will be two agencies involved. One is the Department of Telecom, and from the UIDAI side, in fact, both of us will be required to monitor that the Supreme Court order is fully complied, and that is exactly what we will do.
So by when can we expect that telecom companies will be in compliance with the order?
The telecom
by the end of the year, or will it take longer than that?
No, in fact, it should be sooner than that.
Let me then ask you about a statement that you made, and you clarified that service providers can use offline verification tools like e-Aadhaar, Mast Aadhaar or QR code without access to biometrics. Now, how is this not a violation of the Supreme Court order? Because it still is fundamentally linked to Aadhaar, right? Yes. And this is, you're talking about third-party players, you're talking about fintech companies, for instance.
See, the Supreme Court has clearly said in this judgment that Aadhaar authentication, if Aadhaar authentication where you put your biometric or you do through your online OTP, one-time password PIN which comes onto your mobile number, if you are verifying the identity through such means, we call it an authentication. So if you are doing through authentication, then there has to be some law. Some law has to be there.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court has also said that however the individual is at the liberty to use his physical Aadhaar card, because everyone has been given an Aadhaar card.
Yeah.
Now just imagine that in our country of 130 crore people, what we estimate is that approximately 50 to 60 crore people will only have an Aadhaar card. No other ID document which can be recognized nationally.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, supposing a laborer from West Bengal, if he comes to Delhi, and Delhi, he can't get any service on the basis of his ration card of West Bengal. But what his Aadhaar card which he got in West Bengal, he can get all the services there.
Sure.
So what the Supreme Court has done, Supreme Court has permitted voluntary use of Aadhaar card as such. So what is the offline verification is an electronic version of physical Aadhaar card.
Okay.
So e-Aadhaar is an electronic Aadhaar.
Yeah.
And electronic Aadhaar can be offline verified. Offline, when I'm saying is that it can be electronically verified, but without pinging the Aadhaar servers.
Okay.
So what happens is, supposing if you take your electronic Aadhaar, go to a bank. Banks should be able to verify the digital signature of that electronic Aadhaar. Should be able to provide you the service, because you have volunteered to use your electronic Aadhaar, which is permissible as per the judgment of the Supreme Court.
And you have had this legally vetted?
That's correct.
You've got the Attorney General's opinion on whether this is in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment, and it is.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So, is this the way out, so to speak, then, as far as third-party providers are concerned, fintech companies are concerned? How many people have started this process of using this offline authentication?
So we had a workshop of all fintech companies, because see, ultimately, the Aadhaar is a very, very powerful, and Supreme Court also has mentioned that it's an empowerment document. As a citizen, as a resident, if I have an Aadhaar card or electronic Aadhaar, it is my free will to use it wherever I want. Nobody can make it mandatory until there is a law. However, I should be able to use it, and particularly when 50 to 60 crore people in India only have Aadhaar card, right? So they should be able to freely use it. So what we are doing is we are working with the various stakeholders, the fintech companies, because we don't want that India's digital journey or in this journey should get hampered. And it should, so what the Supreme Court order, that's why we are saying is
the Supreme Court order also told you to put more checks and balances in place, to put more safeguards in place. Since the order, since you were talking about this workshop that you've done with fintech companies, what are the further safeguards that you've put in place?
So in this safeguard, let me explain to you this offline verification, how it will work. This offline verification, in this offline verification, you can go to our website and you can download one version of Aadhaar card, where your Aadhaar number will be masked. So your Aadhaar number is not exposed.
Okay.
Right. It has only your name, address, and photographs.
Okay.
Which anyway, in this today's world, your name, address, and photograph it is in the voter ID card, voter list. So the privacy issues are not to that extent, there.
Okay.
So if that kind of an Aadhaar card, and it is digitally signed by us. So that can be used by the fintech company, the technology company, any service provider, right, without impinging your privacy, and that itself is a very, very big safeguard. So what this offline verification, in fact, the Justice Sri Krishna committee was constituted for the overall data protection.
Yeah.
That Justice Sri Krishna's committee also, recommended that this offline verification, virtual ID, these are the certain methods which will ultimately strengthen the data privacy, the data protection, and will protect the privacy of Aadhaar, and also will prevent misuse of Aadhaar. The Supreme Court in its judgment has, in fact, impressed upon the government to implement Justice Sri Krishna's report.
I want to talk about some of the other contentious issues, but let me end by asking you for a final word as far as deletion of logs is concerned. When can we get a status report on whether it is telecom companies, whether it is banks, whether it is collection agencies, that this Supreme Court order has been complied with, specifically on the issue of deleting the logs post that 6-month period?
See, Supreme Court has, when Supreme Court gave the direction about the deletion of log, it talked about the deletion of authentication log, which is within the UIDAI, right? So the UIDAI is now duty bound to delete all the authentications log which are prior to 6 months, more than 6 months old. We have already started this process. Now, we have constituted a special team of technical professionals who are, taking, making concerned, implementation, all those programs are being written, so that we should be able to separate the data which is 6 months old from the data which is not 6 months old.
Okay.
Right. That is one part. So that exercise has been initiated, and within the next few weeks, we will have all the data deleted.
Okay.
At the same time, what we have also done is that we have already made up a plan that henceforth, if any log is created, automatically at the end of the 6 months, we don't need to delete it. It will automatically get deleted.
Okay.
So this is one part. Now there are also some reports somewhere, just like you mentioned just now, that the service providers are also supposed to maintain the logs, right? Should they delete the logs, which are more than 6 months old? Now, Supreme Court hasn't said something like that. And I don't think the Supreme Court ever intended to say something like that. Because it's like this. Supposing if you have opened a bank account. Now, if you have opened a bank account, using your Aadhaar KYC as a voluntary thing. Now, after 6 months, if your Aadhaar KYC gets deleted, then, no bank account can survive without the underlying KYC. So therefore, and because it is based on the transaction, for example, you went to the bank and you wanted to take a loan, and as a KYC you gave your Aadhaar number, right? You have already taken the loan.
So you're saying that it only applies to the UIDAI, it doesn't apply to third parties like telecom companies.
That's correct.
And again, this has been, you've got legal opinion on this, that it applies only to you and it doesn't apply. It's not your responsibility to ensure that it applies and is complied with by others?
That's correct. Because, this is what, we take the legal opinion only where we have a doubt.
Okay. Right? And you don't have any doubt on this,
so far this part is concerned.
Well, the Rajasthan Assembly elections are just a few weeks away and political parties are shifting to top gear. The Congress has decided to field both its heavyweights, Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot, in the Assembly elections. While announcing the party's decision, the former Chief Minister of the state, Ashok Gehlot, also dismissed reports that there was any infighting within the party's state unit.
हम सब एक मैदान में एक साथ उतर रहे हैं चुनाव के अंदर। चुनाव सचिन पायलट जी भी लड़ेंगे, मैं भी लड़ूंगा, सब लोग चुनाव लड़ेंगे। इस रूप में पार्टी चलती है। इतिहास में कभी भी आज़ादी के बाद में राजस्थान में कभी भी जितने भी मुख्यमंत्री बने, कभी भी पहले कोई फैसला नहीं हुआ चुनाव के पहले। मैं कह रहा हूँ आज़ादी के बाद में राजस्थान में कभी भी डिक्लेयर किसी को नहीं किया गया, तो हमारी परंपरा को बनाए रखेंगे, हमें वो अच्छी लगती है।
Well, that's Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot both contesting from Rajasthan, and more from the state in a setback for the BJP. Its lawmaker Harish Chandra Meena has joined the Congress party. He is a member of the parliament from the Dausa constituency and he is now headed to the Congress. And from one poll-bound state to another, Congress President Rahul Gandhi is on a whirlwind tour of Madhya Pradesh. As he crisscrosses the state, he is raising the Rafale issue in most of his rallies to take on the BJP. Pallavi Ghosh is in Madhya Pradesh tracking the Congress campaign ahead of the assembly elections. Pallavi, what kind of impact is the Congress party making on the ground? What are the key challenges that it faces?
Well, if you talk about Madhya Pradesh, the Rafale issue certainly is not resonating on the ground because it's something which most people don't even understand here. There is a sizable anger against the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government, and that comes in from the farmers, it's also coming in from the Dalits and many of the upper castes as well. Unfortunately, Rahul Gandhi's focus, Shireen, has largely been on the corruption against the Prime Minister or those Rafale deals. That doesn't seem to connect as far as the crowds are concerned, and therefore at the local level, you find leaders like Kamal Nath, Jyotiraditya Scindia, or even a Digvijay Singh largely focusing on local issues because they realize it matters more. So that's the key point in Madhya Pradesh. Rajasthan is one state on which the Congress party is very, very hopeful and confident. And I think because they don't want to take any chances, they've decided that both Ashok Gehlot as well as Sachin Pilot should contest the elections. They want to keep that suspense going. They want to keep the supporters of both the leaders together for the Congress party. But I think at the end of the day, what the Congress party is really hoping for is a win in Madhya Pradesh. Politically speaking, Madhya Pradesh is really critical and crucial, and that's where we are seeing the maximum number of rallies from Rahul Gandhi over here. He's going to be back again in a day or two. But more than that, Shireen, what the worry within the Congress party is that when the Prime Minister comes back to Madhya Pradesh with 11 rallies, will that be the turnaround? Because that's where the challenge really for the Congress would begin.
Well, that certainly has been a challenge in previous state elections. But Pallavi, very quickly, this business about factionalism and infighting within the Congress unit in Madhya Pradesh. Today, we've heard that even Digvijay Singh is now going to be sort of coordinating the Congress campaign. What's the situation between Scindia, Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh now as we move forward?
Well, in Madhya Pradesh, the problem for the Congress party has been a problem of plenty. There are too many stalwarts here, each of them having their personal fiefdom, and there's no connect between each of them. Initially, they did begin by, trying to stay together because that's what Rahul Gandhi's diktat was. But in the last 48 hours that I've been here, I think it's very palpable on the ground. Their supporters work for their neta, their leader, Kamal Nath in his area of Chhindwara, Digvijay Singh largely in Raghugarh, his area. Jyotiraditya Scindia is campaigning in, say, Guna or Gwalior for his supporters. He was missing in action when the program was being chalked out by Rahul Gandhi. I think it's very, very clear over here that, sides have been made, coteries have been formed, and that's certainly not the way to go when you deal with a critical election.
Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has raised some questions on the centre's crop insurance scheme. In a series of tweets, Chidambaram has alleged, and I quote, "As we had cautioned, Prime Minister's Fasal Bima Yojana was designed to profit the insurance companies at the cost of the farmers." He went on to add, and I quote again, "In 2016-17, insurance companies made a neat profit of 6,460 crore rupees, robbing the farmers to fatten the insurance companies." End quote. Archana Shukla now joins us with more on the centre's crop insurance scheme. Archana, you have been looking at some other information as well. What is the sense that you're getting? You've also been speaking to the farmer community.
Well, yes, in multiple interactions that we've had with farmers over the last 2-3 years, we've got this sense that crop insurance certainly is not something that's helping, the farmer community, whether it is to do with the conditions that they have to go through as far as claim settlement is concerned, or the way in which the entire insurance scheme is designed. But coming back to the figures that P. Chidambaram has been quoting, it's been quoting from an RTI that has been filed by a Panipat-based activist called Mr. P.P. Kapoor. And the RTI states that over 85 lakh farmers have actually opted out of the crop insurance scheme in the last 1 year. It says that in 2016, around 5.72 crore farmers had opted for crop insurance, but in 17-18, only 4.87 crore farmers opted for crop insurance scheme. And of the, the reduced number, 68 lakh farmers are only in 4 large farming states, agriculture states, which are ruled by BJP, Maharashtra, UP, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. 2 of the states are actually heading into elections later this year. The RTI also details that insurance companies have made a neat profit of around 16,000 crore rupees in 2 years. It lists out some data on every single state, and they have state-wise data, where they also say that companies like New India Assurance Company has made a profit of 2,226 crore rupees, HDFC Ergo around 18 crore rupees, Reliance made 1,461 crore rupees of profit. It also says that in 2016, the companies paid a compensation of 17,900 crore rupees, and the difference between the premium received and compensation paid was 6,459 crore rupees. But in 2017-18, the compensation paid has come down by 2,000 crore rupees, and it stood at just around 15,710 crore rupees. So this is just rough data, but to discuss this in detail, joining us right now is Mr. P.P. Kapoor, who has filed this RTI. Mr. Kapoor, thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC TV18. Let me first ask you, you have filed a very detailed RTI that counts every single state, the number of farmers who have crop insurance, and the claim settlement procedure as well. What is the most striking feature? Certainly 85 lakh farmers opting out is one big data set, but according to you, what is the other striking feature that you've come across in your RTI?
इसमें मेनली ये निकल कर आया है इसके अंदर आरटीआई के अंदर कि ये जो है लगातार जो है किसान कम हो रहे हैं इसके अंदर इंश्योरेंस के लिए ये है, और जो कंपनीज हैं इनका जो है बेनिफिट जो है, इनका प्रॉफिट जो है इनका बढ़ रहा है, इनका रेगुलरली जो है इनका जो है।
जी, आपने सारे स्टेट्स का अलग अलग डेटा स्टडी किया है। अगर हम ये 4 स्टेट्स की बात करें, जो 4 बड़े एग्रीकल्चर ड्रिवन स्टेट्स हैं, महाराष्ट्र, मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान और उत्तर प्रदेश, इसमें सबसे स्ट्राइकिंग बात आपके आरटीआई में क्या निकल कर आती है? अगर हम क्लेम सेटलमेंट की बात करें, प्रीमियम रिसीव्ड, प्रीमियम पेड वर्सेस क्लेम सेटलमेंट, क्या डेटा है
इसमें? जो इनको जो 2016-17 का है उसके अंदर जो है इनको जो है जो बीमा कंपनीज को जो है प्रॉफिट हुआ वो करीब 6,500 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट हुआ, और जो है अगले साल बढ़कर ये 150% इसके अंदर राइज हुआ और ये 9,335.62 करोड़ रुपीस हो गया। तो ये जो है जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है उनके लिए जो है ये स्कीम है, कोई किसानों के लिए नहीं है। ये किसानों का इसके अंदर कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है, और इसीलिए जो है इतनी लार्ज संख्या के अंदर जो है 85 लाख जो किसान है उसको छोड़ गए हैं, उनका मोह भंग हो रहा है इनका स्कीम से जो है।
जी, आपने बात की कि किस तरह से किसानों को क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस में फ़ायदा नहीं मिल पा रहा है, और आप ये भी क्लेम कर रहे हैं, आपकी प्रेस रिलीज हमने पढ़ी थी कि ये एक स्कैम है, इसमें प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज का फ़ायदा हो रहा है, बट इसमें बहुत से गवर्नमेंट इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज भी हैं, तो आप सिर्फ प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज की बात क्यों कर रहे हैं?
नहीं, इसमें इन्होंने क्योंकि हमारे को जो प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना की जो वेबसाइट है उसके ऊपर सिर्फ AIC का ही लिखा है कि गवर्नमेंट की कंपनी है, बाकी सभी का प्राइवेट मेंशन कर रखा है उन्होंने। और ये गवर्नमेंट भी पैसा ले रही है किसानों से वापस, जो पहले दे रही है शेयर अपना, और वो भी वापस ले रही है, और प्राइवेट कंपनियों के अकाउंट्स में भी जा रहा है मैक्सिमम जो है इसके अंदर से जो शेयर जो है।
कपूर जी, जब हम लोग इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज से बात करते हैं तो उनका कहना होता है कि उनके पास जो रिटन गाइडलाइंस हैं, जिस तरह से इंश्योरेंस क्लेम सेटलमेंट किया जाना चाहिए, वो उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं। आपका डेटा देखें तो बहुत कम किसानों को जो है वो क्लेम सेटलमेंट मिलता है। जो बड़े एक एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविस्ट हैं पी साईनाथ, फॉर्मर जर्नलिस्ट, उन्होंने भी इसके बारे में काफ़ी कुछ लिखा है कि लोगों को क्लेम सेटलमेंट नहीं मिल रहा है। पर अगर प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस की बात करें या इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज की ओवरऑल बात करें तो उनका मानना है कि वो गाइडलाइंस के तहत अपना काम कर रहे हैं। कहां जो है वो डिफरेंस आ रहा है आपके हिसाब से?
एक तो ये इन्होंने इंश्योरेंस जो है ये कंपलसरी किया हुआ है, कोई ऑप्शनल नहीं है, और इसके अंदर जो इंश्योरेंस नंबर ऑफ जो ये फार्मर्स हैं इंश्योर्ड, उसके अंदर जो है जो लोनी फार्मर्स हैं वो मैक्सिमम वही हैं, वो 90% के करीब हैं, कहीं पर 99% के करीब भी हैं। तो जो नॉन लोनी फार्मर्स हैं वो तो ना के बराबर है, बिल्कुल छोटी सी उनकी फिगर है उनकी जो है। अच्छा। एक तो ये गवर्नमेंट ने कंपलसरी कर रखा है, और किसानों को पता भी नहीं होता, उनकी जो है जो भी लोन लेने अप्रूव होता है उसमें से इंस्टॉलमेंट निकाल कर जो है बीमा कंपनी के अकाउंट में चली जाती है, और फिर जब कंपनसेशन लेना हो तो उनको ग्राउंड रियलिटी पे जो है वो नहीं मिलता, कॉम्पनसेशन मिलता ही नहीं है जो उनको, जो बहुत सारे लोगों को जो।
आप कह रहे हैं कि जो सिर्फ लोन लेते हैं वो उन्हें लेना पड़ता है क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस, इसलिए वो ले रहे हैं, पर जो कि क्रॉप लोन नहीं ले रहे हैं बैंक से वो इंश्योरेंस के लिए नहीं जा रहे हैं। आपके डेटा के हिसाब से आपको ये समझ में आ रहा है?
जी जी जी, वो तो ये तो गवर्नमेंट ने इनके ऊपर थोप दिया, किसानों के ऊपर, जो लोन लेने वाले जो किसान हैं उनके ऊपर, ये सिर्फ कंपनियों को फायदा पहुंचाने के लिए ये इसीलिए किया गया है, ये कंपलसरी जो है, नहीं तो कोई ऑप्शनल तो जा ही नहीं रहे किसान जो उसके अंदर। और जो कंपलसरी में भी गए उसके अंदर भी जो ये इतनी बड़ी फिगर है 85 लाख की, वो छोड़ गए। और जहां जहां बीजेपी की गवर्नमेंट ने है उन स्टेट्स के अंदर ही ज्यादा संख्या में छोड़ गए। राजस्थान के अंदर 30 लाख लोग छोड़ गए, 31.25 लाख। महाराष्ट्र के अंदर 20 लाख के करीब लोग छोड़ गए। यूपी के अंदर करीब 15 लाख के करीब छोड़ गए। अगर ये इतनी अच्छी स्कीम होती तो इतने बड़े संख्या के अंदर किसान क्यों छोड़ते जाए?
अच्छा,
इससे क्लियर है बिल्कुल।
जी जी, कपूर जी शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए और ये डिटेल देने के लिए। सो क्लियरली द इशू इज हाउ द क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस स्कीम इज स्ट्रक्चर्ड, एंड इफ वी गो बाय द RTI, the data that the RTI responds from the government details, it's only the loany farmers who are going in for crop insurance and not really the other farmers. So in a sense, it's under compulsion that farmers are taking this this crop insurance because the issues, particularly when it comes to claim settlement and the conditions that they have to go through for claim settlements, does not suit them. We'll bring you more details, more data on crop insurance. For now, back to you.
All right, Rachana, thank you very much for joining in and taking us through that conversation. These motorcycles are a passport to the world, and that's what Royal Enfield CEO Siddharth Lal told CNBC TV18 at the launch of the company's eagerly awaited 650cc motorcycles, the Continental GT and the Interceptor. The launch of the twins marks the company's foray into the over 500cc segment, along with another first in its current portfolio, and that's a twin-cylinder engine. The motorcycles have been competitively priced between 2.5 lakh rupees to 2.85 lakh rupees, depending on the variant. The company's strategy is to keep on-road prices under 3 lakh rupees for even the high-end model. Let's hear out what Siddharth Lal told CNBC TV18's Parikshit Luthra about the company's hopes from the twin motorcycles in India as well as abroad.
Good evening and welcome. We're joining you from Goa, where Royal Enfield has just launched the Interceptor 650 and Continental GT 650. These twins have been talked about for more than a year now. You've seen them in Italy, you've seen them in the United States, and the twins are now home. Joining us right now is the CEO of Eicher Motors, the parent company of Royal Enfield. Siddharth, thanks very much for speaking to CNBC TV18. Would you say, after California, after Milan, the twins are finally home?
Absolutely, the twins are home in lovely Goa. We've just had a gorgeous sunset, and this is where it's all at. India is obviously our home market. That's where we have enormous brand swell, distribution. All of that's working really well for us, and this is our home market. And these motorcycles, as we speak, are there in 120 stores today. So while we launched, we did our global launch in California because, you know, the Interceptor was famous in the 60s in California. Right. The truth is, the availability is first in India. So the bikes in showrooms are in showrooms in a lot of the big cities already today. Yeah. You'll be test riding them in a week from now. So yeah, that's the India story.
I remember I was watching your videos, November 2017, right here in Goa. You were very excited while unveiling this bike, taking off the cover. How does it feel today? And also tell our viewers who are watching this today, the concept, the strategy behind launching this model. The idea goes back to 1960, and interestingly, the journey began from California.
Yeah, that's where the journey began from California, because in the 60s, the Interceptor was the big motorcycle. In those days, they were 1,000, 1,500 cc's. 750 Interceptor was the big motorcycle. It went to California, and you know, the Americans love big things. And this was the big motorcycle. It was this big twin cylinder. And it did so well. And you know how the 60s were, apparently. I wasn't around, but you know, there's this whole surf culture, this hippie culture, and these just fit right in. These were the motorcycles. And that's what we were inspired by. We said we want to create that idea, that concept that people really loved. But we want to bring it, obviously, in the 21st century, right? Yeah. And that was what we did with these motorcycles. They're absolutely modern in their underpinnings. They're absolutely modern. They're going to meet your BS6, Euro 6, all those norms. They're going to meet all of that. fuel injected, they've got ABS, they've got disc brakes, they've got everything that you need to run a bike in a modern time, and they have sublime throttle response. Yeah. That's really the big thing about these motorcycles. They're just absolutely like butter to ride, right? But that's what the idea was. The idea was to bring old school, charming motorcycles, which are extremely modern in their underpinnings, but they behave in a manner that's great for everyday riding.
You want to make this available for everyone. Let's give our viewers a broader view of this, and let's come straight to the pricing. Highly competitive pricing. Why don't you tell us about the pricing strategy?
Yeah, so for us, you know, when we look at the market in India, the market for above 500cc motorcycles is what, 10, 12,000. The prices are 5, 6 lakhs to 10, 12, 15 lakhs. But it's not just the prices. When we talk to consumers, they're like, you know, the spare parts prices are crazy. They're just absolutely nuts because they're being imported or whatever it is. Then the fuel efficiency is crap. Then there's no service available for these bikes. So we have 860 dealers who are going to be selling these motorcycles. And what we want to do is make really accessible motorcycles so that we don't want a part of that 15,000 market. We want to grow that 50,000 market to 150,000, to 300,000, to 500,000. That's what we want to do in India. We have, I don't know if you realize, we have 3.5 million Royal Enfield customers in India since we launched the Classic, right? And those guys, a lot of them have been saying, guys, what do you have? You saw online what people have to say. They're like, okay, we've written this for a while, what do you have? So we've got this model, this very model, the Interceptor 650, which is a global product. The same product comes to India, goes every single market in the world, no exception. Exactly the same specification, exactly the same parts. This Orange Crush monogrammed model is going to cost you ex-showroom 2,50,000, right? And that's something we've done basically to give.
Well, here's the cnbc TV 18 exclusive. As we count down to RBI's crucial board meeting on the 19th of November, sources tell cnbc TV 18 that the centre is seeking resolutions on some key issues at that board meeting. Sapna Das joins us with more details on this development. Sapna, what are these issues that will be in focus, and are there any signs of resolution on some of these issues that you're picking up?
Well, probably signs of a resolution coming through in the next RBI board meet are becoming more visible, more clear. The expectation in the policy circles at least is the fact that some midway will be found in the RBI board meet slated for Monday. Having said that, two critical issues at the government's end, liquidity and credit. Enough has been spoken about the credit issue in terms of what may be done in terms of the Basel III norms, making it more globally aligned. Also looking at the PCA framework, the additional norms that have been attached to the PCA framework as far as the Indian banks are concerned. And moving on to the liquidity issue, basically just making sure that it's not just about liquidity there in the NBFC sector, but also the segmental issues regarding the housing finance companies. They should be looked into. There should not be a kind of a credit freeze or kind of a a lending freeze kind of a situation, because you have 11 of the big public sector banks still under the PCA framework. All these are the concerns being put forward by the government, and they are hoping for some immediate relief. That resolution or some midway being found in the RBI board meet on Monday. Apart from this, also the ongoing issue of the economic capital framework. Well, there the discussions, of course, as previously, will continue on that front. Probably not an immediate requirement or an immediate priority area for the government, so to speak.
All right, Sapna, thank you very much for bringing us those details. So that 19 November meeting is going to be the centre of the focus until, of course, after that meeting. Now, Ashok Chawla has resigned from the board of Yes Bank, where he was the non-executive independent part-time chairman. Now, the bank has just made this announcement to the exchanges, but sources tell cnbc TV 18 that the resignation is a likely fallout of Chawla being named in the Aircel Maxis case charge sheet filed by the CBI. We understand that Yes Bank received letters on Chawla's alleged role in the case from an activist lawyer in the Supreme Court, and the board asked the bank's Nomination and Remuneration Committee to investigate these charges on the 24th of October. Now, sources tell us that the bank had also sought internal as well as external legal opinion and also sought RBI's advice on Chawla's resignation, which follows a meeting of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee that was held yesterday. Now, Vodafone Idea reported their second quarter numbers today. Now, this is a first as a combined entity. So, consolidated net loss for the quarter came close to 5,000 crore rupees with revenues over 12,000 crores. The average revenue per user stood at 88 rupees. And apart from reporting numbers, the board will evaluate plans to raise capital worth 25,000 crore rupees. Remember, this quarter's financials include 2 months of standalone and 1 month of combined results of Vodafone and Idea. Now, there is no necessity to finance auto drivers at the moment, but if need be, Uber may seek third-party support for attractive financing schemes. That's a word coming in from the business head of Uber India, Prabjeet Singh. Now, Uber Auto, which is currently present in 10 Indian and 11 South Asian cities, aims to double its presence by early 2019. Talking to CNBC TV 18's Anu Sharma, Prabjeet also said that he believes competition is what makes them better. Listen in.
I think at this stage, I don't feel the need for a massive financing effort. And the reason for that is there are already hundreds of thousands of autos on the roads in our cities, both in metropolitan and smaller cities. We've all grown up riding autos. I think there's a lot more we can do just by utilizing the autos as an asset more. They come online, they use the app. Our auto partners may be doing trips using on the roadside or using hail service independently, and for a few trips of the day they can actually use the Uber app, which means you don't need to add more autos to the cities to be able to still meet the needs. Over a period of time, if that reaches a stage where we feel that more autos will be required, then we will be very open to partnering with other third parties who can provide attractive financing schemes.
In terms of, there are other competitors in this space. How are you planning to create an edge for yourself, to differ your product from other products? And also when it comes to Uber Eats, other services, will those services be also a part of Uber Auto in the coming future?
I've always believed competition makes us better. I think competition helps us push our thinking, helps us make our product and service better. However, having said that, competition for us is not other ride-sharing companies. Competition for us is private vehicle ownership. That has always been the mission and the vision for the business as we have scaled up.
And the last question being the other services, Uber Eats and those kinds, will those be part of Uber Auto program?
Never say never. Who knows, maybe at some point you could be using an Uber Auto to deliver food at your home.
Now, led by Prime Video, Amazon Prime is seeing the highest number of engagements in India than anywhere else in the world. And this is both in terms of the number of users as well as the time spent on its app. And that's reason enough for the global parent to be extremely happy with the Indian market, where the number of subscribers has touched 100 million. Speaking to Farah Bukwala Vora at the launch of Amazon Prime's Video, 5th Indian original series Mirzapur, Vice President of Prime Video Tim Leslie said he expects the next 100 million video users in India to join Amazon Prime.
We are very happy with the growth in Prime Video. In fact, in India, we're seeing some of the highest engagements with Prime anywhere in the world, and Prime Video is really fueling that.
Amazon Prime Video in India is the cheapest compared to anywhere else around the world, at about $129 per month and $999 for the entire year. But as you look to build your presence in India and you look to establish leadership position in this market, do you believe that these prices can be sustainable? Are you contemplating raising prices in the Indian market?
What we're going to do is continue to provide a compelling value to our customers. So Prime will continue to get better and better. Prime is the best consumer value in India, with the best in shopping, with the best in music, with the best in video, and we will continue to add more benefits to Prime to make it better and better.
But you're not ruling out that it could see a raise in prices?
As I said, we're going to just keep making the service better and better, and we're going to listen to our customers and make sure that we provide them a great value and great benefits.
Some of the media reports mention that you've already managed to garner about 100 million subscribers in India, and some of the analysts are pegging that in a couple of years from now, that number could reach about 180 million as well. But we'd like to hear it from you. What is your target as far as your subscriber base in India goes, and what is the timeline for that?
India is a super interesting country in that you have 400 million people who are online mobile users, 750 who have mobile phones, 400 million who have smartphones that are connected to the internet, and that number is going to grow to 750 million by 2022. So you have the next hundreds of millions of customers coming online, and I think that's what people are speaking to. Who is going to get these next hundreds of millions of people coming online? A lot of those customers, the next 100 million, will choose Amazon Prime Video because it makes sense. It's an unbeatable value for the best value in video and shopping in India.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you very much for watching and have a good night.